Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Donald J. Brower here with head coach of Mendham, Stephen Baig. This is the 106 match at the 47th Annual Morris County Tournament here live from Mount Olive. We're going to have a matchup of Nick DiFrancescantonio, a freshman from Hanover Park, and James McGinty, a sophomore from Par Hills. They're going to be announcing here coming out as they do it, and they're going to do the lay-highs as they come out. They're a little different way they're doing it this year. They're not going to have the lay-highs obviously beforehand. They're going to do them as they come out, sort of big match wrestling style. Coach, talk a little bit about this too.
I was going to say that was a change that we just decided on in our coaches meeting right beforehand. A lot of schools, as Dave Doty was saying, have done away with lay-highs. We still do them, but a lot of schools have done away with them. So we figured a better approach would be almost like what we do for Region 3. You have one wrestler come out, they'll announce their name, they'll do their biography, and then they'll enter onto the mat, and then the next wrestler, same thing. I think it's a really neat way of doing it, and it really highlights the kid prior to a match. And
it's one of those good things, too, especially you got to get the kids hyped beforehand, because, you know, when you read the lay-highs off, and it's like, okay, what are we doing, what are we doing? You know, you get to see everybody, you get all their resume right before they go out to the match.
Right, yeah, it's really cool.
As we see DiFrancescantonio, Nick, the younger brother of Dom, who we've covered and heard that name butchered here many a times, and James McGinty, the babyface assassin, and we're off.
Yeah, and I think last year it was James that didn't have like too great of a seed coming into the tournament, and he ended up either in the finals or wrestling for third, fourth last year.
I'm 99% sure it was the finals.
Yep. Also a state qualifier out of Parsippany Hills.
Really quality wrestler for Par Hills as well.
And then DiFrancescantonio with the early takedown. You know, talking to his older brother Dom, who wrestles at TCNJ, the College of New Jersey, he said this is the best DiFrancescantonio so far.
You're getting it.
I'm getting the name down finally.
And you know, I'll tell you what, Dom really turned it on going late in his career, going down to TCNJ. And if he's vouching for his brother being the best, Hanover Park's got a hammer in the making. I mean, so far, when you look at him this year, came into the tournament 20-2, one by tech fall, one by pin, one by decision. So he's 23-2 right now. And McGinty, the second seed, came in at 21-3. He won by fall, one by major decision, and then decision. So different ways to get here, but you know, two quality wrestlers who know each other very well. McGinty obviously wants to work up to his base and try to escape, but DiFrancescantonio, he's one of those guys who can float, and he kind of is always looking for an open arm or an open wrist. He's always trying to run something. Going to get a stall warning on, did they call that on? I may have called that on McGinty, DiFrancescantonio. Huh. Get the restart, 20 seconds left here.
And so they're in short time, which was less than 10 seconds of the first period. And DiFrancescantonio is just up by 2-0.
And these are one of those quality matchups that, you know, we've talked about, and these guys are going to see each other, I'm sure, later on in different, you know, districts, you know, along those lines, and possibly in states. And they're not too far away. Par Hills and Hanover Park really are not that far away from each other. So you know there's probably some club overlap and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to find that as we go throughout the tournament, especially when you get deeper and deeper and the kids are more quality wrestlers. You're going to see that a lot of them wrestle at clubs together. They know their style. And I think what hurts some wrestlers is when they try to change their style. That happened with our kid. We tried to change our style at 113 in the semifinals. And I think it hurt. You know, everybody has their own style of wrestling, and you got to stick to it. You might do a little bit of game changing, but you shouldn't take your style necessarily away.
You're obviously talking about Fonte.
Yes. And Rafe and I talked after the match. You know, and he's just like, he was afraid he was going to get thrown and lose the match, so he totally changed his stance and stuff like that.
And that's what you can't do at this point. You might as well just go with what you got and just see what happens.
Exactly. So, and that takes nothing away from Piedmont, who we wrestled. He's
No,
an
nothing
excellent
at all.
wrestler. He's in the finals. But, it was nice to see Rafe at least to bounce back from that and pin for third, fourth.
One of the things I always like too, especially when I talk to some of these guys, is you got to stay out of your own head. Like a lot, the top wrestlers you always hear, I wrestled my match, made him dictate to what I do, and that's what you kind of got to see. Is DiFrancescantonio's going to get around here? Did he get to 2? Nope.
No.
Wow. I thought he might have had it there for a second, but McGinty squirmed out. Keeps it 3-0 here.
So also interesting enough, you and I were talking yesterday on the phone, and how thinking this would be a little bit of a closer tournament, but it looks like Del Barton has walked away with the tournament going into the finals. They have 274.5 points. Behind them, Mount Olive at 164 with Westmore Central at 154. So it's going to be a battle for the #1 public school again.
Another takedown there. Beautiful move by DiFrancescantonio here with 15 seconds left. Yeah, the one thing we talked about, obviously, with everything that happened is the upper weights for Del Barton really came through and, had a great showing. And that's kind of where the ones I wasn't sure how they would react. And, great showing by them. But, yeah, this 106 match is going the way I thought it would with DiFrancescantonio. We'll see if McGinty can pull anything out here.
Yeah, and I give a lot of the Del Barton upper weights credit, too, because at 215 and heavy, you're not 100% sure. Those kids weigh in a lot lighter than the other kids. But I will say with a kid like Henry Forte, who won this tournament last year, he might have weighed in late, but he's so technically sound that carries very far for you.
And
he had a huge win over Borgia.
And let's not forget, with the upper weights, obviously Del Barton has a great coach in Dungy there who knows what he's doing from Morristown and can teach them the proper technique with, what heavyweights want to do and be one of those guys. So great job by him.
All right, so we're in a push-pull position with DiFrancescantonio. He sat out and he cut back to the legs. It's a little bit of a scramble position as McGinty's coming underneath the knee right now. And it looks like he's going to try to funk roll through, but DiFrancescantonio is in a dominant position. In this situation, higher hips prevail. You saw his hips come up, and boom. He got his 2, and he almost got a 2 swipe.
Just got his shoulders off the mat to keep it somewhat close. Going to make the score here. Should be, am I wrong here? It's 5-0? I thought it would have been 7. Maybe I saw it.
I believe it should be 7-0.
Scoreboard still says 5, so I'm going to go with that. But I thought that.
Now, and right now, their head coach, he's questioning it. So it's 7. Gary Kessel just confirmed.
That's what I thought. I thought that's what it was. You know what I think might have happened there when he went for the 2 and then he waved off the back? Maybe the person at the scoreboard thought that he waved it off. So very, very possible.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, officiating is Russ Scurries, a longtime official, and he's being backed up by Gary Kessel, who's also a longtime official in the state of New Jersey. He's been the rules interpreter. He's also done a number of Division I NCAA finals. Been highlighted on ESPN as a top official as well.
And he was at the Essex County tournament that I covered the other day.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was down there. That was a who's who of officials. I was like, wow, shot. But speaking of who's who, it looks like our champion at 106 is going to be Nick DiFrancescantonio here as the time's counting down. He's going to walk away with a 7-0 win here.
That's a solid win.
Hits the bicep pose, and if this is the first step in a run of glory, I'm going to have to start pronouncing that DiFrancescantonio name a lot more.
And it looks like, hey, he's got his first of what could be 4 championships.
Now let's send it to our correspondent in the back who caught up with the champion at 106, Nick DiFrancescantonio, and let's see what he has to say.
All right, everybody, thank you. I'm here with Nick DiFrancescantonio from Hanover Park, the 106-pound winner here at the Morris County Tournament. Joe, congratulations to you, man. Big tournament here, and as a young freshman, how does it feel to actually win the title?
Feels great, especially because my older brother Dom came here and won it 3 times. Just to come here and do the same thing as a freshman just means a lot.
And yeah, I got to say, you really dominated from top, bottom, neutral. You really dominated your opponent today. I know Hanover Park has such a great tradition of wrestling for a lot of years. So just talk a little bit about that. Look at the coaching staff that you guys have got. What's like the tradition of Hanover Park that keeps helping like guys like you and Oliveri and the Ramos and all that like just come together and be like elite, I guess I could say?
It's really just the kids that graduate come back and teach the kids what they wish that they knew. Anthony Oliveri, Lou Ramo, bunch of guys come in the room and they just show us how to wrestle, and it helps.
And I think you are going to continue on to that success, man. I wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. Thank you so much for your time. Now back over to Don and Steve for the next match.
Thanks a lot, James. Great interview there with DiFrancescantonio, even though you butchered the name a little bit. But we're going to take a quick break. Special thank you to all our sponsors who helped make these videos possible this week. Harrington Construction and Company, Harrington Services and Demolition, W.J. Harrington and Sons Contractors, Hoffman's Supply, Home and Garden Center, and locally, the 19th Hole, Ginza Bar, Restaurant, and Sushi, Mount Olive Plumbing, Heating, and Air, Sports Clips of Flanders, The Market Tavern, Sub Pub Submarines and Sandwiches, The Marketplace, Wicklow and Loreno Landscaping, OMG Burger and Brew, and then the man I can't forget, Dan Warnikoff, Champion Athletes. Dan is the man if you want to get nutrition done right. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time.